All right, guys, welcome to all you who are hopping in. We're going to start in just about 2 minutes, so make sure that you have reached out to your teams. It's going to be a great call. I'm excited for our guest speaker. We're going to get started in just about a minute or two. Make sure you have a notebook, pen and paper, anything else, your water, everything's set, ready to go, focused, all your Facebook windows closed down so we can focus and get some great value today. One more. All right, well, we're going to get started. And if people hop on late, they hop on late. That's right. And they can go watch the recording. But first of all, I want to just welcome all the new coaches to the team. If you're brand new to the team, I want to welcome you. We're excited to have you with us. Excited that you have decided to join us in this amazing journey that we call Beachbody Coaching. It's crazy. It's fun. But we're excited to have you. Excited that you decided to join us in sharing what we do and spreading it and continuing to expand that ripple effect and help more people along the way. I'm glad that you guys are here and you picked a great time to join us and a great call to be on. We have a special guest speaker here. Want to also congratulate all of the Success Club qualifiers from February. Great job. I know we had a number of people who were kind of fighting to that last minute to get your last few Success Club points. And we had a number of people cross that finish line right at the end. So congratulations to all of you. Just keep that momentum train going. That's the easiest way to continue to build this business is just to keep doing those same activities. Don't let celebrate for a minute and then keep going. When you take your foot off the gas, that's when things start to slow down and it becomes so much harder to get that momentum back. So just keep going, keep inviting, keep sharing. And you'll continue to have the success in March. Last thing I want to announce before we get to our guest speaker, just a reminder that we have started in our book club, this month's book, The Compound Effect. We're only a couple days in, so if you haven't joined us yet, feel free to join us. Just go ahead and request to join the group, and we'll get you added. You can download the book, you can get the Audible book, or you can order it, and it'll be here, be to your house in probably 2 days. Off of Amazon or run to your bookstore and grab it. But that is one of the pivotal books, I think, for us, just understanding the compound effect and how it works in your business. And really, for me, kind of gives me that encouragement when things don't appear like they're happening to just keep going, because I know that eventually they do. And it all starts to happen. So that's the book we're reading this month. Feel free to join us. And without further ado, we are going to turn over to our guest speaker. Let me go ahead. For those of you guys who don't know Brigitte, she is one of the top coaches in the company, a superstar diamond coach, 15-star diamond coach, has actually created over 30 lifetime personally sponsored diamonds, 3-time elite coach, Success Club 10 all-star legend. So what that means, if you're brand new, is she's hit Success Club 10 for more than 24 months in a row, consecutively, every single month. So that just really, just ties in perfectly to our book, Compound Effect, and showing how that consistency over time leads to a successful business. She's a member of the Millionaires Club. She's a wife, she's a mom, and she's going to share part of her story with us and some tips that have really helped her to have a successful business. So, Brigitte, welcome to the call. Excited to have you with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on. Can you guys all hear me good?
We're good.
Echo, though.
Yeah, I'll mute myself.
Okay, I'm good? No echo? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on this call. I just have to say that I have so much respect for Mark, and just hearing him lead this call and get started with everything, I'm thinking, you guys are so lucky, you know, to have a coach and a leader who is doing calls like this and is running book clubs and doing the recognition. It's just a pretty awesome thing to see, because not everybody is that lucky. And so I'm going to tell you guys that, you know, I hope you can see how good you have it here on this team. So I'm excited to be on this call and to share a few things with you guys. As Mark was sharing with me, you know, with his team, what he sees that you guys can benefit from, one of the things he's like, just like the belief and that people have in themselves. And it's just interesting that he mentioned that, because I would say for myself that is something that has made the biggest difference for me in my business. I'll go a little more into my story as I continue on here, but I will just say that belief in myself and in this business and in life in general of what I could do in this world and the goals that I could set and accomplish is something that I did not have, like, for the majority of my life. And that is a pretty recent thing that I feel I developed. And so it's something that I feel strongly that anybody can develop in their life. And so I'm a very visual person, and so I would rather you guys look at a screen share, some slides, versus looking at me, just because I feel like then you have these images to kind of go along with what I'm sharing. And I'm just a presentation kind of person. So I'm going to do a little screen share here. And I kind of made my screen go over a little bit. So hang tight 1 second. Oh, here we go. I'm going to share some slides, and it flipped for some reason. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you guys about breaking through limiting beliefs. So I know we can't see one another, but I want you to ask yourself, have you ever had a fear that has been a theme in your life? Like a fear or a concern, or even had the thoughts of, there's something wrong with me? I mean, here we are on Thursday, and everyone is rank advancing and posting about their like highest paycheck ever. And how many of you guys are sitting there thinking, that's never going to be me, or, well, I'm not rank advancing today, so there's something wrong with me? I mean, be honest with yourselves, because I can tell you I've been there myself. You know, there's been times where I've sat there and wondered, what am I doing wrong? There's something wrong with me. And I can also identify in my life that there have been times when I have felt that way overarching. One of the fears that I had is a fear that I was going to be a horrible mother and that I was going to ruin my children. I remember being a teenager and giving my parents sass and attitude. And I remember my mom telling me, Brigitte, one day you're going to have a daughter just like you. And from that moment on, I was terrified to be a mom. I'm thinking, there's no way I want to be a parent to a little girl just like me. And I'll tell you that fear deepened as I got older, and I struggled with depression all throughout my life. Starting in 6th grade, I was writing suicide letters. And that continued to progress and progress to the point where when I was 21, I was in a mental hospital and in lockdown, and I was diagnosed as bipolar and just severe depression. And I just knew, I'm like, I could never be a parent. I can't even take care of myself. I am a mess. There's no way I can bring an innocent soul into the world and raise that child. And I think it didn't help that when I was at the mental hospital, there was another, different people there. And one of them was a mother. And she had her kids come to visit because you had visiting days. And I get choked up just thinking about it. But this mother had children coming to see her and getting to know her a little bit better. This wasn't the first time that she had been in a mental hospital. And seeing her kids' faces when they came to visit their mom, I'm thinking, I will not be that person. You know, I did not want to have kids. I was scared to have kids. I was scared to just, mess up other people's lives. A year after the mental hospital, I was pregnant with my first. Not unintentionally, but not planned, okay? And I was pregnant, and I was now a mom, and then again, shortly after that, I got pregnant with my second. They were just 18 months apart. And I was scared, and I will say that fear of being a mother and that fear of I'm going to mess up somebody's life actually is what motivated me to change my life. When I was 29 years old, I had my third child, and I remember looking at her and thinking, I wonder if she's going to be like me, because our birthdays are just one day apart. And that thought, again, just that fear of I'm going to mess up my children. And I realized in that moment, though, that my kids are going to follow my example, whether I want them to or not. And I mean, I was the mom who was sleeping on the couch, like just letting the kids watch TV. I was doing nothing. I wasn't really present in my life because I just couldn't handle it. I was just so sad. And I realized, like, I need to get my ish together. I need to get stuff together and make changes. And so, I started this spiritual journey, and I decided I'm going to start working out. That was the first thing I said, I'm just going to start taking care of my health. And I lost 55 pounds and got in the best shape of my life. I was doing P90X. I was using Shakeology. And that's when I said, okay, I can see that other people are watching me. I want to be a coach. But I still had that fear, right, that I'm going to ruin my children. And that didn't go away. And then I went ice skating. So if you follow my page, you probably heard this story a little bit. But December 23rd, just a couple months ago, I took my family ice skating in downtown Phoenix. So we live in Phoenix, Arizona, but downtown they have this outdoor ice skating rink. And I love ice skating. Like, I grew up in Idaho, so I went ice skating like at the little neighborhood pond, like almost every day growing up. So I love ice skating, and I'm good at it. And this was the first time taking my kids, and I was just so in the moment, enjoying it. We were rolling, like skating around and around, and my youngest, my little daughter Phoebe, I was holding her hand. I was kind of in charge of her in a way. My husband was taking care of my older two children, and we were going around, and she was like, Mommy, I want to do it by myself. And I'm like, okay. So she went around by herself the first time, and I was so proud of her. And at one point I even had this thought, because I'm a mom and I think my kids are perfect, but I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, she's going to be an Olympic skater someday. And I just thought, like, I better get this moment on film, right? Because I had this thought in my mind, and it's comical now, but I'm like, oh, someday when there's an A&E special on Phoebe Linford, the famous Olympic skater, wouldn't it be so cool if there was a home video of the very first time she went ice skating? So I took this little film of her skating around all by herself and put my phone away, and we continued skating, and then she fell. And she fell down kind of like this, so her head hit the ground, and she had both of her hands on either side. And I looked down to pick her up, and I could see that my skate was over top of her hand, slicing her finger off. And her hand was on one side, and her pinky finger was on the other side. And I'm like, what just happened? And I'll never forget my daughter looking up at me with this face of, how could you? And we were rushed to the hospital, Phoenix Children's Hospital, where she had a 3-hour surgery to get her finger reattached. And she endured like 2 weeks in the hospital. We were there for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, 2 full weeks, where she had leeches on her finger every hour to increase circulation. She was confined to the bed, could not leave the bed, and had to wear this diaper that she was horrified about, and couldn't leave. And as a mother, that was like my worst fear come true, right? That I'm messing up my children, and not only just mentally and spiritually, but now physically. My kids, if they did not need therapy before now, because I'm their mother, for sure, now they need therapy, right? And I just remember looking at her in the hospital and thinking, I'm the worst thing that could have ever happened to this child. I can't believe that she's in so much pain because of me. And one particular day, I remember I was in my house and my husband was with Phoebe at the hospital. And we had flown down my in-laws and they were taking care of the older two. And I'm laying in bed. And my alarm clock had gone off about 5 hours prior, but I couldn't get out of bed. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't want to do this. Who am I kidding? Like, why am I even trying? Like, there's no point. I'm just screwing everything up by being here, just going back into this deep, dark place. And this thought entered my mind. Or so goes the story you are telling yourself. And I'm like, where did that come from? Or so goes the story you're telling yourself. And I thought, it reminded me of something that I had heard at a Tony Robbins seminar a couple months prior. I went in October to Unleash the Power Within. And Tony Robbins is big on the story that you're telling yourself and how you tell yourself a story and you create evidence to support it. And I realized in that moment that I had set this belief that I'm a horrible mother, and now I was finding evidence to support it. And I realized, well, what if I was telling myself a different story? Is it a possibility that I could find evidence to support a different story? I started thinking of, maybe this isn't truth. Maybe this isn't reality. Maybe this is just the story I'm telling myself. Because Tony Robbins says, as your story goes, so goes your life, right? That when you tell yourself a story, you now find the evidence to support it. I mean, I don't know if you guys have done this experiment before, but wherever you are right now, if you're driving, listening to this as you're driving or, sitting at the computer, I want you to look around your room and look for everything that is brown, okay? So look around, find everything that is brown. Now close your eyes. Now I want you to think of everything in your room that was yellow. Can you think of it, or could you not find the yellow? Because you were looking for brown, right? And I mean, how many of you guys were making a dark purple a brown because you're well, it's close enough to brown, so I'm going to count it, right? So you can find more things to count as brown. Or how many of you were well, that's kind of a light black, so I'm going to count it as brown. Or dark green, and it's brown enough. You found things to support what you were looking for. And I thought to myself, here I am, I'm doing the same thing. And I'm not just doing it in this, but I can see it in my business. I can see the coaches who are doing this in my business. I mean, it's kind of we're all a bunch of cars, okay? So, I have 3 kids. We watch Disney movies. Here we are, pretend you're in a movie, Cars, and we've got Lightning McQueen and Sally and Mater or whatever. And we're all a car going down this freeway, but yet how many of us are parked along the side of the freeway with our car that's not moving, and we're looking over the hood thinking, what's wrong with my car? There's something wrong with my car because all of these other cars are going past, zooming. They seem to just effortlessly move forward, and I'm sitting here and there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. I get that so much with coaches that they think this person is successful, they're charismatic, they have what it takes, they look like a model, or they know so many more people. Of course they're successful, but there's something inherently wrong with me so that I'm not progressing. How many of you guys can relate? I'm going to tell you, you're not alone. There are so many people who feel that same way. I've felt that way myself. And there's so many coaches on my team that I've talked to, and I can see that they feel this way. But I want you to realize something. A car is designed to go, right? It is designed to move forward. But the inherent natural state of being for that car is stop. And I want you guys to really think about that and let that sink in. The inherent state of that car is to be in stop position, but it has a choice Like you have a choice to put your foot on the pedal, turn the car on, and fill that car with gas, and then it will drive down the road. But you have to make like intentional choices to get the car to do so, right? How many of us are sitting there with I just feel like we're sitting there with our car along the side of the freeway, and we haven't even hit the gas pedal, we haven't even turned the car on, and yet we're sitting there thinking there's something wrong with my car. Okay? No, like we get to realize for us, for every single person out there, this is a universal thing. If you're not making an intentional choice of what you want to believe, the natural reactionary state of your thoughts is negative. You're going to think there's something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. What if people find me out that I'm this bad person? Like I just am not good enough, right? That's a natural state. That means you are a human being. So whenever you have these thoughts and you think, oh, I just get so down, like congratulations, you're a human being. It's natural. But you have a choice to be intentional, to put your foot on the gas pedal. And as you do so, it becomes more automatic for you. You know, it's not like I don't get in my car now and sit there and think, why is it moving? I really want to be, at Target right now, but my car is not getting me to Target and I don't know what to do. No, like now I get in my car. I know I need to turn the gas on, turn the car on. I need to hit the gas pedal. I need to make an intentional choice. Same thing in this business, same thing in life. Like you have to make intentional choices to read the books that you see Mark telling you guys to read. You make an intentional choice to like fill your car up with gas, fill your cup up with that personal development and doing your workouts, like reaching out to people, right? But you do so because that's an intentional choice. Because here's the thing, like if I wanted to find the evidence to say I'm a loser, like I'm a college dropout, 2-time college dropout, they kicked me out 2 times. I've got depression my whole life. I'm a victim. Like I was abused as a child, like all these things. I'm depressed. I'm overweight. I'm not a healthy person. Yeah, I could choose to believe that. And I would be the car sitting along the side of the freeway doing nothing. But I'm making a choice to choose a different belief. And I'm choosing to see, okay, there is yellow here. This entire world is not just brown just because I was seeking that out and I found that. I'm going to close my eyes and see if I can find any yellow. I'm going to make an intentional choice to turn this car on, fill it up with gas, and see how far I can go, okay? So I'm going to share with you guys a couple steps because I know that everybody can relate because you're a human being. So how do you move past these limiting beliefs that come into your mind? The first thing I want you to identify is that there is a narrator of your life. So when you have those thoughts enter your mind, there's something wrong with me, I'm not good enough, I can't do this business, I'm missing something, like everyone else is a natural leader but me, or everyone else just naturally, it's easy for them, it's not easy for me. I want you to identify. That's not the truth. That's not even reality. That is the narration that you're saying. I've learned that it's not the experiences that give us a hard time. It's the meaning that we give that experience. Not the experience, the meaning that we give it. So the meaning is that narration, the narration that you're giving some experience. So first step, recognize there's a story. And these are the steps that I took myself to pull out of this depression that I was like living in because I was living in a reactionary state. So these are the intentional choices that I took to step out, okay? So this is why I'm sharing this. But recognize there's a story. Step 2, I want you to write down the story that this narrator is telling you, all right? Write it down. Now, I know this may feel like, well, isn't that giving power to the negative beliefs to write them down? And isn't that like cementing it in? No. What this is doing is helping you to see how ludicrous it is, okay? Because it helps you to see like, okay, that's ludicrous, right? I mean, it's kind of like when my kids come and tell me that there's a monster in their bedroom, and like we talk about it, you know, we write down the story per se and say like, okay, so our monster is real, and of all the children in the world, why would the monster pick you, and how did it get into your closet? You know, we write this down, and so we can look at it and shine the light on it, and not put it in this dark, deep corner where we're not really seeing it clearly. So this brings it out into the open so we can say like, is this legit, right? So write down the story that this narrative is giving you. It objectifies this fear that you're holding on to. The third step is I want you to ask yourself, you just objectified this story. You wrote it down. Now I want you to ask yourself, is this story empowering or is this holding me back? Now, this is a step that I think most of my coaches miss, right? Because I'll have a coach message me and they can identify the story. They can even write it down in a message to me, but then they miss a couple steps and they find evidence to support it. Instead of saying, okay, now if I hold on to this belief, is that going to move me closer to my goals or is it going to hold me back? And that's what I had to do, guys. Like when I looked at this belief that I'm a horrible mother, I can identify that, okay, this belief that I'm going to mess up my kids, it worked for me in the past. It served me in the past a couple years ago when it motivated me to change my life, right? That was a big motivation. It worked for me in that time. Now it's not working for me. If I hold on to this belief, I'm not going to get out of bed. And I'm not going to be able to do anything related to Beachbody. I'm not going to be able to pay the bills if I stop doing Beachbody, and our family is going to fall apart. All these negative things are going to happen because I'm choosing to believe this belief. Do I want to do that? Do I want to continue believing this story that I told myself and I had to say no? It doesn't work for me. It's not empowering me to believe this story that I'm a bad mother. But I want to pointed out that that story did work for me at one point. And I share that with you because it's important for each one of you guys to identify in yourself that the beliefs that you have right now, you are still holding on to them because at some point in your life, they worked for you. They served you. They were your survival belief. They got you through some point of hard time. And so this is not a beating yourself up and saying, what's wrong with me? Why am I believing this? I don't know what my issue is. You can say, thank you. Like, thank you for this belief. It worked for me. It served me at some point in my life. But just because it served me in the past does not mean I have to continue holding on to it. Now I can let it go because it's not empowering me. All right? Step 4, identify another option. Okay? What's a different story that could possibly be told here? And this is where you get to be creative. This is where you get to play the role of a supportive friend, right? So if you were the supportive friend and your friend just cut off her daughter's finger ice skating, what would you tell that person? Would you tell that person, oh my gosh, you suck. You're a horrible mother. Your kids would be better off if you weren't here. Like, you're this bad person. Like, would you say that to another human being that you were a friend to? No. So I had to ask myself, okay, I'm playing the role of a supportive friend. What would I tell my friend in this situation? What is a different alternative story here? Okay? Your car is sitting along the side of the freeway. You're not moving forward. Other people are. The story is not that there's something wrong with you. What's another story? What's another option? It could be, I'm a race car. I have the potential to fly so freaking fast down this freeway, but I didn't put oil in my car. What's something I can do differently to get a different result in my business? What's a different story that I can tell myself to hold on to? Okay? I had to say for myself, Brigitte, like, what if you saved your daughter's life? What if you had not agreed to this? Like, what if someone else would have come and like slid a skate into her head and she was brain dead from that point on? There's so many different options here to the story that I came up with. I made a list of different options that could have happened, or like that our potential, you know? What if I negotiated with God that, like, let me be the person so that, you know, if my son had done it, that my son would never have been able to get over it, you know? Or what negotiates it? I don't know, but I can choose a different story, right? I can be creative and I can say, you know what? I think I maybe just saved my daughter's life. You know, there's a potential for her to lose her life there. By me doing that, I saved her life. And thank God I had the reason to, as I was skating off of that rink, to turn around and go find that finger. Okay? Like, I can find a different story. And then that leads you to step 5. You seek out evidence to support the news story. How many of you guys, you know, if I tell you to close your eyes right now and seek out yellow, you're going to find yellow. And you're even going to probably turn things that are maybe a dark white into yellow. You're going to turn things that are orange into yellow because you're going to find the evidence to support yourself and to support the story that you're creating. So tell yourself, I am a top Beachbody coach. I have the potential to be a 6-figure earner. I have the potential to, like, fill my challenge groups and help people see amazing results in their business and in their results with hammer and chisel or 22 hard corps. Like, I'm going to have an amazing transformation. You're going to find the evidence to support it. You're going to create the evidence to support it. But you have a choice. You have a choice which beliefs that you entertain and that you hold on to. And now here's one more story. And here's the thing. All of this, as a mother, like, I didn't have work experience. So when I get on webinars, I talk about my kids. I talk about being a mom because I never had a job before Beachbody. But I learned all this from my daughter. My other daughter, her name is Andy. And Andy is unlike any other girl I have ever met in my life. She's not like me. She's a unique little girl, and she oozes confidence. She is the most self-confident person that I know. She likes what she likes. She doesn't care what society says that she should like. She just owns herself. So here's this little girl. She likes Minnie Mouse. She loves Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She wants to wear sport, like her brother's, like, hand-me-down, like, workout clothes every single day. Like, she does not want to dress up at all, but yet she loves wearing lipstick. And she can rock a princess tiara to church on Sunday like nobody's business, okay? She is so unique. And here's the thing. Like, I would kind of been a little worried about her at times because she never brings friends home. Like, she doesn't play with friends after school. But yet she'll come to me and she'll tell me, Mom, did you know I'm, like, the coolest girl in school? And I'm like, really? That's awesome. And she's like, yeah. And 2 weeks ago, she came into my room and she goes, Mom, how old do I have to be before I can change my name? And I'm like, well, you have to be 18, but what do you want to change your name to? And she goes, well, I want my birth certificate to say Awesome Andy because I'm awesome and I want everybody to call me Awesome Andy. And I mean, she's dead serious about this. Like, she corrects me if I call her Andy. She's like, no, I'm Awesome Andy. And I mean, she starts writing it on all of her school papers. She made this poster board for her bedroom door that says, Awesome Andy lives here. I mean, this girl knows that she's awesome. And it's not like she's trying to convince herself or convince anybody else. Like, she authentically thinks she is awesome. And here's the thing. I was asking her, like, the other day, I'm like, so are you telling your teacher to call you Awesome Andy and your friends at school? And she's like, well, yeah, like, you know, I go to the kids at recess and tell them, like, when I introduce myself, I just say, hey, can I play with you? And they'll say yes or whatever or no. And she'll say, well, I'm Awesome Andy. What's your name? So I mean, she's introducing herself to these friends. But, you know, I got curious about that. I'm like, so who do you play with at recess? You know, who are your friends, you know, right? Because she's not bringing people home from school. And I told her many times, like, who do you want to invite over? And she's like, I'm fine. You know, she plays with her older brother or her little sister every day after school. And so she was telling me about recess, and she told me that there's these little groups, and there's like a jump roping group, and there's a group that plays soccer and a group that is a talking group. And apparently there's 5 different talking groups. And I kind of asked her, I'm like, so what group are you in? And she goes, well, I don't have a specific group. I just play with everybody. I'm everybody's friend. So I move around to the different groups. And I just ask him if I can play with them. And I'm like, so what do they say? And she goes, well, sometimes they say yes, and then they let me play. She goes, and sometimes they say no. And I'm like, really? Like, what do they say? And she's like, well, they'll just say, no, thanks, we're good. And I'm like, and how does that make you feel? Like, or what do you do? And she goes, oh, I just figure they're busy and they don't want to explain what the game is that they're playing to me. So I just find someone else to play with. Like, and I'm just sitting there thinking, my gosh, like if that was me and I was her, like at that age, I would sit there and give it the meaning of nobody really likes me. I have to go around and beg people for me to hang out with them. I don't really fit in. I'm not like the other girls. I don't really have any good friends. I don't have anyone to play with except for my older brother and my older sister. I'm such a loser. Like that's the meaning I would have given that experience. And yet that same experience, that's not the meaning that my daughter is giving it. She's giving it this meaning of I'm friends with anybody, everybody. Everybody wants to be my friend. I'm the coolest girl in school. I am awesome, Andy. And it just goes to prove the point that we have a choice. In every experience that we have, we get to choose the meaning that we give it. And you can say, I am a loser, or you can say, I am awesome, Andy. Because here's the thing, guys. In this world, you have this story, right, of your life, the story of your life. And you are the main character of that life, but you are also the author. You get to choose the story that you're telling yourself. And I encourage you guys to choose an empowering story because it's not going to work for you to keep holding on to the limiting beliefs that you have had. And I will tell you guys, this Beachbody business is like the ultimate accelerator for growth. So you're here and you're on this journey and you're going to very quickly find out what limiting beliefs you have been holding on to. Because let me tell you, this business is fun. This business is easy. This business is awesome. You should wake up every day and be like, I can't believe I get to be a Beachbody coach, right? If you're experiencing pain, if you're experiencing frustration, it's the limiting belief that you're holding on to. And I had this conversation with one of my coaches yesterday because she's stressed out, right? And I'm like, okay, it's not the experience. It's not that your Beachbody coach is stressing you out. And we got to identify that it's a limiting belief that she's holding on to, that she has to have a super clean house. Otherwise, she's a bad mom. She has to have every single thing done. She has to do every single thing every single day, and every single day be better than the person she was yesterday. And I'm like, no, you get to do your best for that day and that day's circumstances. And so we were able to identify a limiting belief, and it was the limiting belief that was creating pain, not the experience. So this is like the coolest thing ever, that you guys get to do this, that you get to be a coach, and that you get to be on this journey to grow and to identify the things that you can do differently. To move out of this, and I'm going to kind of cancel my screen share here. You get to identify what limiting beliefs you've been holding on to so you can release them. This is all about greater freedom and greater happiness and as you're progressing on this, but that's not going to happen unless you choose an empowering story. And I encourage you guys to do that. And that's all I have for you guys today. So thank you for having me on this call. Mark, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to you.
That's all you have? Geez, oh man. That was awesome, Brigitte. I really appreciate you sharing all that with us and, getting kind of intimate on some family situations that you had and things that you went through, and love that story of your daughters. Really appreciate you sharing. I have a few questions that we kind of just wrap up our calls with, if you don't mind. Kind of just quick fire. Don't think too much about it.
Okay.
Just pick your brain. All right. So first thing is, what is the one piece of advice that has really hit you that you've gotten from someone else?
That if I'm not, like, what I'm doing today is what my coaches are going to do. So like every single day asking myself, if my coaches did what I did today, would they be successful? Would they have built their business and continued to grow?
That's awesome. That's perfect, because we actually have that as our banner in our team page. Ask yourself, if I did today, if my coaches did today what I did, would they be successful? So it's funny that you mentioned that. What would you say is like your favorite success or motivation quote?
Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And I know that that's like super simple, but that's like the theme of my life. And if I can explain really quick, like where it came from, like before I did Beachbody, I ran a half marathon, and I signed up for it like when it was 10 weeks away. And at the point I signed up, I had never ran more than 3 miles. And so in the training for that, there were many times I thought, I'm going to die, like this is not going to work. And I remember just realizing that as long as I'm like moving forward, I'm going to hit that finish line. Even if I'm crawling, if I'm taking baby steps, if I'm walking, it doesn't matter. And I've taken that same approach in this business where I'm like, how can I move forward today? What can I do today to progress, even if it's a baby step forward or I'm crawling forward, and some days I'm sprinting, but I just got to keep moving forward.
That's awesome. I can remember actually my wife and I sitting at, well, they were game plan events back then, but listening to whoever speaking, and that point actually hit us. So we were like, wait, if we just don't quit, we can't fail at this. Like if we just keep doing stuff every single day, we won't fail. So just kept moving forward. Do you have a favorite personal development book?
The Happiness Advantage.
The Happiness Advantage? I've never heard of that
one. So good. And of course, maybe it's the timing of when I read it, but I'm really glad my husband kind of forced me to start reading it, because based on the title, I would not have read it. I've been like, so happy people have an advantage. Awesome. I'm not a naturally happy person. But no, it's like super, super good. I listened to the audiobook of it. Just this year alone, I've listened to it 3 times, just because I'm constantly like learning something from it. And it's just an incredible, incredible book. I just listened to it on Audible. Highly, highly recommend it.
Awesome. Perfect. And then last question, if, knowing everything that you know now about, about this business and everything that you've gone through, if you were starting over, brand new, but knowing everything you knew now, what's the one thing that you would do on a daily basis, the one thing that you would focus on?
I would invite more people. Like, I look at how this has changed my life and my coaches and my team, and I just think, like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, right? Like, this is freaking amazing. Like, this business that we get to be a part of. And I was so shy in sharing it with certain people because I didn't want to offend them. And I look at this and I'm like, they are totally missing out. Like, I should have been bold and being like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I want you with me. Like, this is going to be awesome. Come join me. Let's do this together. Let's figure it out together. But I felt like I had to like understand more before I was confident in inviting people, and I was thinking I was going to offend them, but yet how offensive is it to tell someone, I don't think you can do this with me? Like, this is for me, but not for you. And so I would have been a lot more bold in my invites. Awesome.
Great tips. Definitely going to check out that book that you recommended. I'm a huge audiobook person. Just pop them in wherever I'm at. So definitely we'll check that out. I want to thank you again for taking time out of your day to share that with us. I got a ton of value. I know our team did too. And I'm actually going to go back and watch the replay again, because I'm sure there are nuggets in there that I missed as I was writing down other notes. So guys, you can check out that replay on our team YouTube channel, youtube.com/teamInfinityvideos. Thanks again, Brigitte.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Have a great day. Talk to you later.